Hello and good morning. It's just middle of November and it's time for our monthly allotment tour. So let me just take you over the allotment in this very mild and very unusual November. So I'm standing here in the original part of the allotment, and we've got some carrots here which hopefully will be harvested for Christmas, and the fig tree has lost all the leaves now. We planted that fig tree probably 6 weeks ago. I will need to have a look on these strawberry planters and actually sort them out. Still plenty of flowering things. Soft fruit bed requires some attention. We will have to prune and weed few things, but it's not beyond, our capability. It's all fairly manageable. Well, the sad thing is that unfortunately the leeks have been attacked by the maggots and there's only a few standing up. So I will sort that bed next week. Well, anyway, it's on the list of beds to be sorted. Flower bed just in front of me, mainly has been trimmed, might need some weeding, and I think that Verbena bonariensis, we will cut it a little bit down, looking a little bit messy. There is masses and masses of self-sown things which I have no idea what they are, but I'm sure that it will become more apparent as the spring approaches, so we'll have to take a view on that. Now, the garlic I planted in, I think, probably late September. Most of it has come up. The rose Provençal garlic hasn't. However, I can see that the elephant garlic is just poking through. I will put some more different garlic, because if in a week or so it's nothing there, I will replace them, because this is my main garlic bed. No, I think garden tour would be full without looking at our outdoor tomatoes in mid-November. I mean, I'm still harvesting every few days, few of them, and I've realized that if they are, look, there's still plenty of them, and I could take them green, but they are still ripening, if you know what I mean. And if I take them just that kind of color, which is just off green, they ripen beautifully at home. So we will be taking few today as well, leaving the rest on the bushes. I am taking sort of gamble here and experimenting how long they can survive this year in an open field. Now I'll have to go around, because as you can see, the Verbena bonariensis is completely overgrown here. So this bed is kind of like a polyculture. It's got some beetroot, it's got some parsley, some things are coming to flowering, dill flowering, coriander is also flowering, so that's pretty nice. Now I have the cutting celery going completely mad here, and I will take maybe a couple of plants and plant them in a pot in a polytunnel or a greenhouse. That's the brown fennel still flowering, and we had some what was it? I think it was wild rocket, which I let seeded. So as you can see, they have a seed pods on, and I let them kind of mature and self-seed, and then I will clear that bit up. But it's looking quite pretty, so I'm kind of a little bit reluctant. We still have some beetroot here, but I've planted also some, I can't remember, was it garlic? It might be garlic here, and it's again poking through, so that's great. The last 3 beds here are different things, mainly Cavallonero, and there is some purple sprouting broccoli. They have been very badly damaged by rodents, but they are coming, and the insects, but they are coming back. So we will have some Cavallonero over the winter, and hopefully in February we will have some purple sprouting broccoli. There is some different kales here. The other thing which I have just sown some, and it's coming up, are various winter lettuces, and as you can see that's some sort of mustard and so on. There was a little video, I hope I included that in. We have lots of self-sown flowers here. Nasturtiums are coming back in a crazy manner, and we will let them sort of flower and do that until they actually get frosted, which who knows when that might be this year. But there's nothing much in polytunnel, so I will skip that part because it's basically just a few tomatoes left, and we're storing various things over the winter. Now, this little bed, if there is anything, any beans on them, I'll pick today, and I will actually cut them down and put few of the filled beans in this and in this bed. I've got a beautiful Swiss chard here. If I bet that if I just lift that, this has been damaged by rodents. You can see there's a hole there, and probably roots being munched on. So that's what the problem here is. I will put few field beans in that bed as well. Now this is the bed which is going to require the most work, I think, this year, because we will clear up. I have promised myself now all these rogue raspberries, and we will transplant them or put them just in pots. And I certainly have to do something about this bed, and it's going to go under the thick layer of cardboard, because the problem we have here is a bindweed, and you can see how much bindweed there was there last year. And I weeded it and we dug it over, although we no dig. We'll have to keep on top of this. Okay, now we out to the bit which is the a bit of allotment we started probably a year ago, and this is the herb bed. Now it's looking more mature. The thyme, the rosemary, the sage, the marjoram, perpetual cabbage. I can see it's been munched on by birds, so I might have to cover that bit. Parsley is flowering, very pretty, and nasturtiums. There was some tarragon here. Yes, there is some tarragon. I will harvest that, and I will dry that tarragon. So what else do we have? I mean, the dahlia actually stopped flowering, and I will prune them very soon, and I've got a few more dahlias to add and mulch in this bed. Now, this is the first of the asparagus bed, and all we will need to do now is to weed. These are not too difficult weeds. Put some green compost on top, cut the asparagus and just drop it onto the bed. So I've got 2 beds like that. In this bed, which is forms, edge of this forms also this sort of archway with the herb bed, we've got again masses of cutting celery. I think I will just wait till it dies off. Some wood roof in a corner there, and some parsley, and we will plant some field beans in this bed. Now I'm just going to walk forward. This is the bed. It's covered because we have few cauliflowers here, but what we mainly have is these are artichokes, and they've been cut down. 4 artichokes. They were cut down in a late sort of summer, and they came back now with the vengeance again. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen to these cauliflowers. They are hopefully doing their bit. However, we might have something here. I said that previously. Nigel also planted some onions here, and I can see the onion is germinating. We also have some potatoes volunteering, but I'm hoping they will die and loads of weeds. That's why the fabric's gone up on the back, because by the wildflowers, which we do love, however, they just make mockery of my beds, and the weeding is just endless. So we will have to mulch that heavily once the onions come up, and hopefully that will help. Bit of weeding, as you can see, nothing too drastic in those beds. So we're coming back to the end of the allotment on this side, and these we're just harvesting these are the Jerusalem artichokes and flower sprouts in this bed. Let me just pass this. Lots of volunteer potatoes. These are the pots with some more carrots and parsnip. They're not going to be ready for Christmas. This is Attica root parsley, so we can use the parsley the same way, and they're quite hardy. Spring cabbages, they seem to do okayish, and some other, I think there might be some cauliflowers there. We've got plenty of flower sprouts, and I will be harvesting some of those all the time. I'm already harvesting them. There is some purple sprouting broccoli, they need to be staked, and there is some Brussels sprouts, or well, whatever mice didn't want, I think. Right on the back there is the single flowered dahlia bed, and there is at the moment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got one more 7 different very colorful single dahlias. There's a bit of yacon growing there, which we're not going to be harvesting. We're just going to mulch and keep for the next year. And another dahlia bed. Well, let me just show you. This is what happens when you actually plant wallflowers and you don't get rid of them. You can't treat them as biannual. I'm sure there's going to be a riot in the early spring, but it also means they have just overtaken everything else. They will be removed after this year. I've added a couple of dahlias into that bed, and as you can see, self-sown nasturtium, which is very pretty, are everywhere. So this winter we will put this bed under cardboard and heavy mulch, a compost, some sort of leaf mulch, which we have on the back here. Let me just quickly show you our area where all the other bits are happening. So there's a wood store here and a leaf mulch, an impromptu compost pile, because everything else here is absolutely full. And as we walk here, so this kind of uneven bed is going to go all on being mulched under the cardboard this year. These are a couple of hives waiting to be cleaned. We have, this is the wildflower bed, which you can see I've planted some foxgloves and oxeye daisies, and even there's some violas there, some parsley, and verbena bonariensis. It all kind of is taking off, even sort of, so this is where I've been discarding some of the compost from our pots. Well, this is where the squashes have been this year, and we need to sort out this path because it leads to the rhubarb, but also we use that path quite a bit, so we need to sort that out. The bees are very busy. The one and final thing we might have to do is to put the mouse guards on. These are too strong hive. They won't let mice just yet, but that needs to be done. And this area is going to be put again under cardboard, just because it makes it very difficult to work around the hives. There's plenty of stinging nettles in here, so we're not actually doing any harm to the wildlife there. Let's just have a look. So what we've got here, well, I've got some amaryllis which is going crazy. I hope they're not going to flower too soon, but well, it will happen what will happen. But I am absolutely delighted. Why am I so delighted? This is my own sweet pea that has now germinated. I might have to pinch those broad beans because they're going crazy. And that's the early let me just read the name, I can't remember. Feltham. Early Feltham peas. These are the self-collected sweet pea which have germinated. This is the broad bean which is going slightly crazy there, and these are the shallots and slightly leggy what were they? Pak choy. I'm going to transplant them into something else. Now, the next time we meet, I am hoping to be doing nothing but tidying up this greenhouse. Because we both, Nigel and I, had COVID, and we both needed to visit our families and have some holiday, I don't think we have achieved everything we wanted this year. This is where our blueberries are, and I think that one didn't survive, but that one is still going. We've planted some raspberries, yellow raspberries. I think there will be probably maybe 2-3 surviving after the weather we had this year. And as soon as this vegetation dies down, and it will very soon, we will be clearing this up and layering parts of it with more membrane, just to be able to then decide how the paths will go. Otherwise it grows so quickly we are incapable of doing so. I think this is as full allotment tour as I can give in mid of November. We have some great wins, we had some disappointments like everybody else, some massive surprises, and Nigel is not with me today, but I wish he was. And I would like you to have a lovely week, gardening weekend, and thank you for watching, and hopefully see you next weekend. Bye bye for now.